Duncan Idaho is a man defined by the sound of his own neck breaking. In the Imperium, death isn't the end for him, it's a reset. For 3,500 years, his life was a revolving door, a cycle of rebirth so relentless that the Tleilaxu stopped treating each iteration as a man and started treating him like a replaceable component. While audiences cheered for Jason Momoa's heroic sacrifice in the sands of Arrakis, they were only seeing the first act of a nightmare. This isn't a story about loyalty. It's about a man resurrected, broken, and discarded until his very soul became an archive of human suffering. And for 3,500 years, one man made sure he never stayed dead. The God Emperor, Leto II. Here's the part everyone misses. When he remembers being human. Not in theory, not as philosophy. He remembers friendship, loyalty, simple things standing at Paul Atreides' side before any of this began. Every time he comes back, he isn't just reborn into a new body. He's dragged forward into a future where everything he once fought for has been twisted into something unrecognizable.
Sarkar! No! Duncan!
Oh, no!
Duncan, no!
Duncan's suffering starts with the people who rebuilt him. The horror begins in the laboratories of the Bene Tleilax. They don't see humans as people. They see them as raw material. Every time Duncan Idaho is born again, he is birthed from an axolotl tank, not a machine, but a living, breathing woman, chemically lobotomized and transformed into a biological factory. There's no dignity in this process. No ceremony, no memory of who he used to be. He is grown, observed, evaluated like a product. And when he finally opens his eyes for the first time, he doesn't wake up into a life. He wakes up into an experiment already designed to break him. A Ghola starts empty. To bring the original man back, the Tleilaxu learned they had to break him first. They found that only extreme psychological trauma could awaken a Ghola. It wasn't an accident. It became their method. Every version of Duncan was subjected to a calculated breaking point until the psyche snapped and the memories of his past life came rushing back, often his death along with it. Imagine waking up and your first conscious thought is the agony of your own throat being slit. Leto couldn't stop bringing him back. The God Emperor ruled for 3,500 years as a colossal sandworm hybrid, sacrificing his own humanity to save the species. To keep from drifting into cold-blooded madness, he needed a constant, someone who remembered what it meant to be human. Leto kept killing the one man who told him the truth, and then simply ordering another. Duncan was his conscience, and every time he used it, he destroyed it. The worst part is Leto knew exactly what he was doing. He understood Duncan better than anyone in the universe. That's why he kept bringing him back, not just for companionship, but for resistance. Duncan wasn't there to agree with him. He was there to fight him, to remind him of everything he had sacrificed. And then, when that resistance became too real, Leto would end it. To Leto, Duncan became something disturbingly close to a resettable companion, valued, but ultimately replaceable. When a Duncan grew too old, or the horror of Leto's rule became too much and he turned his blade against the tyrant, Leto would crush him. He would mourn for a moment, then send a message to the Tleilaxu for the next one. He was forced to watch the son of his best friend turn the Atreides' name into a symbol of universal oppression, serving a god wearing the face of the child he once protected. But repetition does something to a mind, even his own. You can erase a life, you can rebuild a body, but when the same consciousness is pushed to the edge over and over again, something starts to accumulate. After enough deaths, something in him stopped resetting. He became something new, a living record of every life he'd ever lost. He began recovering memories from multiple past incarnations, layers of identity bleeding into each other. He isn't just the swordsmaster of Caladan anymore. He's all of them. He carries the tactical genius of 100 Duncans, and the heartbreak of 1,000 betrayals. He didn't think like a mentat. He remembered like one. He began seeing patterns no one else could because he remembered every time he died. Even a god couldn't fully predict him. He was the one variable in the golden path that stayed human in a family of monsters. He didn't choose the desert like Paul, or the worm like Leto. He was the one forced to endure the weight of all their choices. When you go back and watch the films, and you see Jason Momoa's Duncan Idaho smiling at Paul Atreides, remember that you're looking at the beginning of one of the most haunted existences in human history. The tragedy of Duncan Idaho isn't that he died a hero. It's that the universe refused to let him stay one. He was kept as a psychological mirror for a tyrant who couldn't bear to be alone in his divinity. Duncan Idaho didn't win. He just lived long enough to remember everything. And that was worth